It's sad. He did live a long life. 94 years old is a long life. Had a great family, a good man. He was a good president, was always positive, and then had a son to leave a legacy to a president also. I just remember just always hearing positive about him. He was kind of a motivator. You didn't really hear like the great divide you do now between the parties and everything. It was a president. He seemed like he was just for the country and the betterment of the country.
I always recall him being a nice man, a good president. It didn't seem like many people griped about him. And I recall him later, after his presidency, that he was more of a family man. And that was the things I was most impressed with him by, is how watchful he was over his entire family. I appreciated him as a husband and the love affair that he had with his wife, the obvious respect and admiration that he had for Barbara. I appreciated how he was involved with both Jeb and 43, how he was kind of helping them in their candidacy and their presidency, and I adored the way that he was with the twins.
President Bush was an honorable man, and although I disagreed with many of his policies, he was a decent man, and we mourn his passing today. He certainly was a pragmatic politician. He worked with Democrats to pass the Americans for Disabilities Act, for example, and to get taxes increased so that the huge deficit caused by Reagan could be closed. And he also was a reasonably modest man in terms of his language and was not a braggart. And so he had a temperament that we could benefit from following, both on Capitol Hill and here at the White House. I remember, for example, that he didn't like broccoli, which I just thought was a terrible thing. And I actually had a broccoli brooch that I wore everywhere because I thought broccoli was a fantastic vegetable and good for health. And he was so anti-broccoli and proud of it. So I remember him for his opposition to broccoli.
President Bush, I think the thing that bothered me most of all was as the AIDS epidemic raged, there was an indifference towards that, and I think it was directed towards those that were unfortunately afflicted. And, that's something that was pervasive with the GOP and the conservatives at the time.